So there are 5 simple ways that I invest my money to make more money that anybody can do as a beginner without any prior knowledge or experience. And so by the end of today's video, you're gonna know the 5 ways that I do it so that you can consider implementing those ways into your life as well. Hey, Adrian Logan here, as always, encouraging you to become the hero of your story. And when it comes to financial intelligence, I believe it's one of the many keys to personal empowerment. So I'm excited to share with you some of the ways I've learned over the years to allow my money to work for me and to leverage it in the best way possible. Now, of course, these are beginner tips, so I'm not saying that these alone will make you rich or anything like that. But what it will do is it will allow you to leverage the money you do have so that you can make more money with very little effort. Now, investment number 1 is high interest savings account. Now, you may be thinking, Adrian, I already have my money in my bank's high interest savings account and it never grows and I really don't see any money come from it. And that may be true, but there are other types of high interest savings account I want to discuss with you that actually can yield results. Now, for the majority of my life, I thought that going to your local big bank and putting your money into a high interest savings account there was the smart things to do. But then over the years, when I started really researching into financing and investments, I realized that the big banks, their high interest savings accounts actually offer like the most ridiculously low interest rates out there. So gather around and we're gonna go into my computer here and I'll show you some of the different interest rates that different banks offer, and then we can compare to see what would be the best option for you and what the best option has been for me.
Okay, so as you can see, we're on the Bank of America website. This is their savings account page. So if you go down here to rates, it'll jump down to where their high interest savings account rates are. So as you can see, 0.03%. So if you have less than $2,500 in the savings account here, you get 0.03%. Even if you had over $500,000 here, you're still only getting 0.03%. So 0.03, that's 3% of 1%. So basically nothing. So that's an example for those of you that are American residents that might be using an account like Bank of America, any other bank. They're all pretty much the same as far as how terribly low their interest rates are. If you're Canadian, this is a TD Canada Trust. This is their savings account page. Now, you see there's different accounts that have different requirements to qualify, but if you have a basic account, you're getting 0.05%. So again, that's 5% of 1%, so nothing. Even if you have their high interest savings account, which is what I've had my money in for like 7 years, if you have between $0 and $5,000 in there, you get nothing, 0%. If you have between $5,000 and $5 million, you're still only getting 0.5%. So that's only 0.5%. So again, it's really nothing. And even if you had a premium savings account, which has certain requirements for it, between $0 and $10,000, you're getting nothing. Between $10,000 and $5 million, you're only getting 1.05%. So basically nothing. And the problem with this is, even if you had your money in there making 1%, on average, the inflation rate is between 2 and 3%. So in other words, every year, the value of your money, the purchasing power of your money goes down by 2 to 3% every year due to inflation. So let's jump over to another website here to show you some options for a proper high interest savings account. And so with Ally Bank, it's a great option for those of you that are American. It's trusted. A lot of people recommend this and have used it. As you can see here in the corner, 2.20% is the annual percentage yield. So whatever amount of money you have in this account, on a year-to-year basis, you'll get 2.20%. And they'll probably be increasing this as time goes on because there's so many more companies coming out, making the high-interest savings account with online banks more and more competitive. Now, as you can see, there's no monthly maintenance fees or minimum balance requirements, so it's a very simple, straightforward account, nothing to hide, 24/7 support. But the main thing you need to know is it has 2.20% return on the money you put in the account. For Canadians, and this is one I use EQ Bank. So again, it's an online bank, 2.3%, and just with Ally Bank, it's the same. There's, in the sense that there is no monthly fees, free electronic fund transfers, free day-to-day transactions. There's a maximum balance of 200,000, so you can put a maximum of 200,000 in this account and get that 2.3% interest rate. Now, I want to go over to Ally Bank here just to show you that they have this calculator basically. So you can type in whatever amount of money you would have. So let's just keep it at 10,000. So you have 10,000 in the account. If you had 10,000 in the account with Ally Bank, you're getting 2.2% back, which is a per year amount you're getting back of $220. So $220 is what you're getting year after year. Now that might not seem like a lot. Regardless of how much money this is money that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise for doing the same thing. just having your money sitting in an account. If you look at the other options, there are American Express, Citibank, Bank of Montreal, Chase, like Wells Fargo, Chase, 0.01%. Literally 1% of 1%. So that would give you $1. So if you had $10,000 in the account, you get $1 back. So you can see the different options. This is a great option for Americans, Ally Bank, and for Canadians, EQ Bank. And again, it's the same thing as having having your money in a regular bank account. It's just sitting there collecting dust. The difference is when it's in your regular bank account, like your Bank of America or TD Bank, you're making no money at all, and it's not even keeping up with inflation. At least, the very least, with Ally Bank and EQ Bank, you're keeping up with inflation, so your money's not losing any value. The purchasing power isn't going down.
So I'm going to put links to everything we've talked about down in the description. What I really recommend is using the high interest savings account for things like your short-term family emergency fund or just your short-term savings account. So if you haven't already, set yourself up with a proper high interest savings account and get your money right, because it's very simple, it's very easy, and it's among the quickest ways to get your money to start working for you. Now, investment number 2 is investing in low-cost index funds. So now your next question is, what is an index fund? So very simply, an index fund is a series of stocks that you can buy. So to give you a little example, remember when you were young and you'd have like a bag of marbles, and it'd be a bunch of different types of marbles in there, and each individual marble probably wasn't worth a whole lot, right? But the whole collection of marbles was. Now, instead of buying this individual like bag of many marbles, you could have just bought one really large valuable marble, right? But why wouldn't you do that? Well, you wouldn't do that because if you had one valuable marble and you played it in a game and you lost it, then your whole collection is gone. Your whole investment is gone, right? So by having a bag of a variety of different types of marbles, your investment was more secure because it was more diversified. Well, it works kind of the same way in the world of stocks. The index fund is that bag of marbles that we were talking about. So for example, if you had $1,000 and you put that all into a Facebook stock, right? If Facebook as a company was to do bad or they were to go bankrupt, right, and their stock value plummeted, then your whole investment plummets as well. But if you invest that $1,000 into an index fund, then you own a small piece of many different companies, right? That way, if one individual company or a couple individual companies was to do bad, it doesn't impact your whole investment because it's diversified and spread out over so many different companies. For example, there's a very popular market index fund called the S&P 500. And in the S&P 500, when you invest in that, you're investing in the top 500 companies in the United States. So that means when you invest in the index fund for the S&P 500, you're investing in companies like Facebook and Google and Amazon and Walmart and Nike and McDonald's and all the other the top 500 companies in the United States at any given time. So not only is your investment diversified, but with the S&P 500 specifically, over the past 90 years, on average, it's returned 10% per year. So some years it's higher than that, some years it's lower than that, but on average over the past 90 years, it's returned an average of 10% annually. So that's amazing. Now, personally, I use an investment platform called Questrade. So I'll put a link to it below, and that's where I buy my index funds through. Now, I like to be super diversified. So not only do I invest in an index fund that tracks the US market, but I invest in an index fund called VGRO, like VGRO. And in that, not only does it contain the US index market, but it also contains the market for the Canadian market, the international countries markets, and the emerging countries markets, as well as Canadian bond markets, the US bond markets, and the worldwide bond market. So without getting too complicated, essentially I'm investing a small piece of my money into many different sectors of the world by those individual markets. So any one bad situation like a recession won't affect my investment as much as it would affect someone's investment that invested only in a particular company or only in a particular country's economy. So needless to say, it's very diversified, it's very simple. I just invest my money and then I don't really look at it very often because the whole point of investing is to invest for the long term so that you have your money working for you for the greatest amount of time possible. And the best part with Questrade as an investment platform is that I think there's only a minimum requirement of $1,000 to open an account. And then after that, you can invest as much or as little as you want anytime you do have some extra money to invest. So it's a great place to get started. It's the only place I've ever used, so that's the only thing I can recommend, but it's worked great for me so far. Now for me personally, the money I put into an index fund is money that I don't expect to touch for at least 5 years. In other words, you don't have any plan for this money, you're not gonna need this money in the near future, as far as I'm concerned, when I invest my money into an index fund, it's gone. Like I don't plan to touch it for decades, really, because again, it's a long-term game. You want your money working for you for the most time possible. And then investment method number 3 is investing in your retirement account. So your 401k or your RRSP, depending on whether or not you're in Canada or the United States. Now, generally as an employee, if you are an employee, a lot of companies have the option to invest in an RRSP or 401k retirement fund through the company. So what they'll do is they will take a prearranged a dollar amount or percentage of each paycheck and contribute that towards your retirement account. And every company has different index funds they offer, and they're usually very diversified. So if you do have that with your company, look into that and see what they offer. But a lot of times they offer either 1, 3, 5% that can be taken off of your paycheck to go directly into your retirement savings account. And it's a great option for you if you have that as an option with your company, because the money taking off your paycheck is taken before it gets to you. So you don't notice that it's gone because it never got to you in the first place. And it's so small that it doesn't affect the amount of your paycheck anyway. And even though it's small amounts taken off, small amounts over weeks and months and years and possibly even decades really adds up to a lot of money that's working for you for your retirement. And then going a step further, depending on the company you work for, your company might also offer a retirement matching program, which essentially is the company saying, okay, if you will contribute to your own retirement account, we will also match whatever you put towards your retirement account to help you prepare for your retirement. So for example, let's say that 5% of each paycheck for you is $100, and you put that $100 towards your retirement account. Your company will also take $100 from their money and put it towards your retirement account as well. So, I mean, it's basically free money. You have to be a fool if you have that option to not contribute to that. Because it's like someone saying, hey, I have free money for you. And then you saying, oh, I have quite enough, thank you, I don't need any more. And they're like, hold on, I'm giving you $100 for free. And you're like, nah, it's cool, I'm good, thanks man, I appreciate it. Right? You wouldn't do that. So if someone's gonna give you free money, you take it. So if your company, if your employer offers a retirement matching program, you take that. That's free money, my friend. That's free money. Now, of course, this would be the longest form of investments because you're investing for the retirement. You're investing for the future. But again, if your employer offers a program, not only is it a smart way to invest your money, but if they have the matching program, it's free money. So you can't go wrong. Now, the investment method number 4 is cash back credit cards. Now, if you are financially responsible with credit cards, most banks offer cash back credit cards, which allow you to get anywhere between usually 0.5 to 4% cash back on the purchases you make, like for gas and groceries, purchases that you're making every day anyway. Now, me personally, I use my credit card, my cashback credit card, for every purchase I make. And as a result of that, over the years, I make hundreds of dollars a year back to me on purchases I was making anyways. And again, this is purchases you were already going to make, but you're getting cash back, 1%, 2%, 4%, depending on the credit card. And so if you're gonna be spending money anyway, you might as well get cash back from your purchases. So what I recommend is go on Google, type in the name of your bank, and then the word cashback credit card afterwards, and see what list of cashback credit cards they offer. Now, big disclaimer, big warning, hello, if you are someone who maxes out credit cards in the past and doesn't pay them off, if you have not historically been good with credit cards, and you're not confident that you can use the credit cards only when you have money to pay them off, then this is not for you. This is not for you. Do not get a credit card if you know that you are not responsible with having a credit card. And the reason you don't want to get a credit card if you don't think you're responsible enough to have a credit card or use it properly is because when you have interest and compound interest working for you, it's like the eighth wonder of the world, as Albert Einstein said. But when interest and compound interest is working against you, you'll find yourself getting slapped with 20% interest rates on your debt, which you do not want. It's not a good look. And when it comes to debt, that leads me into the 5th and final investment method. Now, investment number 5 is paying off your debt. That could be school debt, that could be credit card debt, that could be car debt, any type of debt, you pay that off. Now, I get that it doesn't seem like an investment strategy per se, but it really is, because for every dollar you put towards paying off debt, that's equivalent to investing your money into a method that has that same level of interest working for you. For example, if you pay off a student loan that has 3% interest on your debt, on your loan, that's the same as putting your money to work for you, making you 3% interest. So it's very important to know how much your interest rate is on the debt that you have, And also not paying off just the minimum on that, because it's very tricky when you owe debt. Sometimes, depending on what your debt is, you might be paying off $100 a month, for example, thinking that you're paying off $100 on your loan, on your debt. And you might only be paying off $20 on your loan, your debt, because the other $80 is going towards your interest payments, not your principal payments. So it's very important to know how much your interest rate on your debt is, and also not paying just a minimum. Pay as much as you can. For example, my first car, and don't ask why, but my interest rate on my first car's debt, I was financing it, was 24%. Again, don't ask why, but it was 24%. And if I made the minimum payments on that debt, if I paid off my car on the full length of the loan, I would have ended up paying 2 times the value of the vehicle, right? So I didn't do that. What I did is I was putting all my spare money into that debt. I was paying off $700 a month instead of the $200 a month minimum, because the interest was so high and I wanted to get that off my shoulders. I didn't want to have the interest and compound interest working against me. If you have an investment that will make you 5% interest, but you have credit card debt over here that's charging you 20% interest, that difference of 15% is what's hurting you. So it's important to pay off your high interest debt as fast as possible and be aware of how much your interest rate is. So just to recap, 5 simple ways to invest your money to make more money is 1, investing in high interest savings accounts. 2, investing in low-cost index funds. 3, investing in your retirement fund, and if you have it, your employee matching program. Number 4 is investing in your cashback credit card opportunities that your bank offers you. And 5 is investing in paying off your debt. Credit card, school, car debt, whatever your debt is, investing in that. Now, me personally, all 5 strategies we've talked about, I employ in my life. So it's not just me talking about things that you could do and what's out there. No, this is me actually telling you what I do. And these are beginner strategies, so anybody can do it. Anybody can look at their own situation and apply these things to your own life. Now, if you like this topic about finance and investing, and you want to take your investing game to the next level, down in the description I've also put my 2 favorite books on the topic of investing and finance, so also check that out. Now, my question to you is, of the strategies we've talked about today, which ones are you implementing into your life right now? And for those that you have not implemented yet, why not? What's stopping you? Let me know down in the comments. Let's create a discussion around this. I read all my comments, I reply to all my comments. So again, let me know down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button below, subscribe for more videos every week, encouraging you to become the hero of your story. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.